And welcome to Pulp Mythos. I'm Brian here with Larry and Spencer, and we're going to be talking about 1883, episode number 5. If you've not hit the sub button, please do so. Leave a like, leave a comment. And so we got a couple weeks. There's going to be a break. So this will be the last 1883 review for a couple weeks. I don't know what their schedule is or why, but it is what it is. This episode was titled The Fangs of Freedom. It should have been called Bandits and Romance, or I should have had the word bandits in it. Um, as far as Western shootouts go, top notch. The whole third act of this episode felt like a film to me, like a sort of a short film. You know, you had from the beginning of Elsa finding love and, developing this romance to, this blossoming, love story, and then, tragedy in the end, and this epic, gunfight. Um, I think I texted that to one of y'all. I was like, man, this was like a movie.
Yeah.
So in terms of the action, I watched Tombstone the other day, and like that's how hyped I was after watching this episode with westerns. I went and watched Tombstone. What was your guys' initial thoughts on this episode compared to the other episodes? Because I really felt like this episode felt like a short, sort of like a short film.
Yeah, I it not only the pacing of it, it told almost an entire story in itself. Because even in the beginning of this episode, you got the backstory of the people dying from the river crossing. You have um, Faith Hill. Uh,
Margaret.
unfortunately, there you go. I couldn't remember her name, but you had her going not on a downward spiral, but she felt like her life changed because all these people dying, and she was trying to get them across, and she felt like it changed her, not only just her outlook on life, but the what she believes in and what she stands for. And then she tries to relay that to Elsa. Hey, I love the way you're looking at the world right now, but it's going to change. And then sure shit, by the end of the episode it changed. So it's one of those things where this, not only was it a story contained unto itself, it was a well told one.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you thought like, okay, episodes later, her worldview is going to change or it's going to steadily change, but in an instant they did that one thing that would, change her forever. Well, one of the major things that could, it was a very good episode. Like you said, it did make me want to have some other related content. I thought about booting back up Red Dead. Ryan, you said you watched
Yeah.
Tombstone. Like and another good title I think for it could have been There Will Be Blood, because there definitely was.
Yeah. And in terms of the storytelling, what was so cool about it was, even down to the opening where we get back to thievery in the group. These people are stealing food from others within the group, and we get the confirmation that, look, all these groups, they came on the boat together, they arrived there, but they're not connected to each other. They don't really give a shit about each other, and so that's why some of these things are happening. But we have the moment where, okay, they get left behind. Well, the bandits attack them, and so we've been building the entire episode with this bandit attack. What's going to happen? And of course, um, Sam Elliott and the group decide, well, we have the upper hand because we realize what's going on. So we're going to basically, create this trap. And then we have, the epic battle at the end. So I just love the fact that, yeah, the whole episode was always building and building to this moment. And seeing the transformation of Elsa, from the beginning all the way to what happens at the end. The love of her life is taken from her, and she, enacts revenge, and shoots takes a life. And so how is that going to affect her? How is that going to affect Margaret? Her mom seeing this, that her daughter had to take a life, and we saw, it's putting a weight on the relationship between um the whole Dutton family.
The way they keep talking about bandits and everything, and there's a constant threat of it, and we've had more than enough gunfights already. Like, it felt inevitable that this would happen, and honestly, it should have felt inevitable, to her too. I feel that, like that it's a situation where their survival matters more than anything, and it seems like a very deadly trip. You know, Either she was going to take a life at some point, or her own life was going to be taken, and just the whole idea that each of these people, like I said, they're all like this whole caravan is made of several little factions. They did a good job of, before they even outright told us, I think, just seeding the idea that a lot of these people wouldn't socialize outside of this trip if they didn't feel they needed to band together for this journey, because they felt very disjointed throughout this entire series.
I well the them getting together, and even Margaret trying to rally the troops while the rest of the cowboys, you know, her husband, and you had Sam, and not Shay, Sam, and Thomas, and then you have Florida Georgia Line, who ended up not making it. But
His,
what do you say?
I was just gonna say his name is Enos, right? I think I
Yeah,
remember his name.
yeah, it is. But we called this a while ago. I was saying that the only way for her for the Dutton name to carry on and them to focus on Elsa and her kind of be the POV would be for her to get pregnant and for the dad to not make it. And Larry had said before that he didn't think Enos was going to make it very long. So as soon as they had sex, I was like, well, he's dead. So like, I didn't know. I figured it would happen like next episode, or 2 episodes down the road. I figured she would have a little bit longer to kind of explore her love with her new beau, but it didn't, and it was very. Oh shit!
Those ain't my dogs.
Am I? No. Oh,
but but yeah, I agree. I thought she would have been showing by the time he died. It was surprisingly sudden.
I thought he would have made it through the winter.
Yeah.
Because the other tragedy in all this, and it's not been highlighted yet. Obviously her, they're in love and all this. They're going to get married, all that. But I was thinking about his friend. I was like, man, that sucks. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are clearly, good friends. They're out. They do these jobs together and hang out, and it's just like, yeah, he just lost his like friend. He doesn't know anybody else in that on this trip, and so I was even thinking that, I don't know, that was bothering me as well in terms of the sadness of it all.
Yeah, true. And well, I was wondering, like, are they, because they look kind of alike. Are they friends or are they brothers?
I'm not
Kind of.
sure. Yeah.
Either way, it's definitely going to hit him pretty hard. I could see him maybe even wanting to abandon this caravan.
Well, and that's the other thing. We had Margaret getting all these people together, pulling guns out, and none of them could hit like a fucking barn door if it was sitting 6 inches in front of them. But for them to be that bad, they just lost somebody who was a helper, who could corral the cattle, who could hold a gun, who could. So my thing is not only is it, hard on Elsa, my my perception is now they said it was like a week away at the quickest to get to the next outpost or whatever, or 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks, I think, to the next outpost because they were going to start eating
It
cattle. And
was,
he was
yeah, a
just
week or two. Yeah, it was like more than a week.
so for them to get another cook, or because they said that they were going to, pay a cook and do all these things, but now they need another, I don't want to say safety net, but they need another soldier, another cowboy, somebody who can corral, the cattle and hold a gun, because they haven't even got to the Indian territories, or when they talk about the OK Corral and stuff, and the Wild West, or even what Dodge City was in Kansas. Like they haven't got
Yeah.
through that part of the Oregon Trail yet. So like there's all these awful, just gunslinging areas that they haven't even got to yet. They haven't even made it out of fucking Texas. And it's only going to get more dangerous the further away from civilization they get. And it's going to be hard to do that when they just lost one of their vital people. So I don't know if they're going to replace them with somebody at the town, or if one of the uh the Germans. There was all kinds of different languages being spoken. So one of the people who came over on the boat, if one of them is going to step up and start to learn, or what, I don't. That to me is what the biggest mystery is as of right this moment.
Well, I think after this, like you said, they are short on people who can actually do useful things. That, hell, Elsa after her loss may have a mean streak, and she may mention herself. That some of them better start learning how to herd cattle or shoot or something, because it's starting to be. Well, I mean, it's not starting to be. It's been amazing, or it seems amazing, that they would even consider this trip as unprepared as they are. They, like they have no survival skills whatsoever, and yet they want to go out west and start a new life. They were completely like we've had all these deaths, and it seems like the journey's barely started.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, we've seen all the deaths as a result of the land, essentially, and the wildlife and things like that. Now we have the bandits, so we're getting the human interaction and the danger there, the fighting within, the stealing and everything. So they've checked. I mean, they've checked quite a few boxes at this point as far as the dangers, but they keep building towards the one that they keep bringing up over and over, the winter. And what comes with that is the food issues, and that's another concern of them. Like the reason they don't want to butcher the cows, because none of them are skilled butchers, so they're worried about the waste, and the fact that that's another skill that they're lacking. They don't have anybody that knows how to do that. So yeah, losing this guy, Innes, um, that hurts them bad, and so yeah, I agree that maybe when they get to the next place, that they'll be looking for some kind of replacement or somebody with a skill set that they can use. But then again, that'll cost them. Do they even have the financial ability to compensate someone at this point? Um,
Right.
Well, and like you said, the butcher part, they mention it. If I wouldn't want to, like, if I mean, I guess if I had to, I could kill a cow, but I couldn't tell you how to gut it. Like I mean, I know how you're supposed to drain it so that there's not meat or blood in the meat, but that's about the extent of what I know. But I couldn't even tell you how to do that. I mean, I could tell you because I watched The Office a bunch of times, and Dwight talks about how to kill a goose. Like I, I could tell you how to do that, but but there's, I wouldn't know how to do that. And like they said, trying to cut the meat to get the most out of one of the cows dying, they wouldn't make it. Like they would just they would end up killing probably 4 extra cows or steer or than they would have to, just because they don't know what they're doing.
As volatile as things are right now, I still feel like, hell, potentially due to this whole Cook situation, there's likely another argument coming between Shay and the father of the Dutton family. He may just be like, "Well, I'm going to take off." It's like, "We got your damn cook," and he's like, "Yeah, well, he's not a very good cook, so I'm going to go my own way."
He doesn't use enough pepper on his
um, we got
his
another little bit of that this week. We've had the escalating conflict between James and Shay, and it's still there, definitely. And like I said, now James is not only dealing with Shay and Thomas and sort of the whole caravan, but now he's his family, his wife, is starting to have issues and started bumping heads with him. His daughter, we don't, we got a little bit in the preview. Clearly, she's not in a good place at all after this loss. So James is weirdly, becoming he's there to help, but he's almost somewhat of an antagonist in his own right. Not a villain or anything, but just sort of a force that's working against others, or at least irritating them.
Well, when you say that irritated me because I think you're right. But when he tried to ask Margaret like where she was going, and she said something about when I signed my vows, I didn't sign that I had to tell you where I'd be or something along the lines where she didn't have to tell him because that's not in their vows or whatever. And that irked me just because he's been a dickhead these last several episodes, but he hasn't been a dickhead to her. Like, he's been real shitty to Shay. He beat the shit out of Enos before, Elsa did. So yes, he was awful to a couple of people. So, uh, you know, Elsa being mad at him after he punched Enos. Now Enos is dead. So there's a lot of people whose anger I understand, but hers I didn't get. Like, it just, I mean, it
Well,
seemed life, but like it just, it almost seemed misplaced. Like she's, mad and sad because of all these things that are happening. And when he's trying to just protect her, she feels like she doesn't need protection anymore because she's already been exposed to all these awful things. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't know that you know how much worse it's getting ready to get.
well, yeah, it's one of those things. It's like if they were, you know, in town or in a different area or anything, I'd get it. But as they expressed and talked about earlier in the episode, they're in bandit company. So, I mean, not bandit company, bandit country. So it's of course he'd be concerned and would want to know where like literally every member of his family is, just in case something goes down. As we saw this episode, things
That's what I'm
clearly
saying.
went down. Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely agree. Specifically for that reason, it's like like no, I really want to know where you are because you might die out here. You might get held hostage.
It's like there are
That's gonna be the name
bandits.
that's gonna be the name of my new band,
What?
Bandit Company.
Bandit Company.
Company.
It's like Southern rock. Listen to some Bandit Company. Um, but
All we're gonna
yeah,
do is covers of Skinner songs.
I thought you were gonna say
they
Creedence
would
Clearwater.
both.
No, Credence is too good.
Hey man, Skinner,
Yeah.
man, Simple Man.
Yeah.
It's a great song. Um,
I'm
but
just
yeah,
gonna
that
we're just gonna play Freebird like 42 times. Same song, play it again.
the at this point, I mean, it's crystal clear that by the time they get wherever it is they're going, they're going to have very few people left, and that's been the more interesting thing. I mean, we got a glimpse. We still don't know in the timeline how much further down the line this is. Is it before the winter or after the winter? I'm assuming after the winter, but obviously the opening clip of the entire series is an attack. Everyone's being murdered, but it didn't look like there was a whole lot of people there in that scene. You know what I mean? So either I don't know if they broke away from the other group, or maybe they got where they were going and they were doing, going somewhere else. We don't know, but obviously in that exchange, we see Elsa get shot. Um, whether she dies or not, we don't know that either. But seeing the journey of them losing people is essentially what the show is about.
Yeah, I think we said it last episode that it could have been we could be getting this whole story from the perspective of somebody reading her journal, so she could have died there.
I'm telling you, man, Kevin Costner sitting at a fireplace reading the journal. I'm down. But yeah, we got a break. I'm not happy about that. I was so the episode is amazing. I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat, I'm like, oh man, Elsa shoots the dude, kills him. I'm like, damn, this was good. And then they're like, in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And I saw that trailer. I was like, fuck. I was so mad. I was like, come on, man. But yeah, that sucks.
it's the 30th, and then they didn't say when the episode after that is. I think the last 3 episodes of this season haven't been given a date yet.
Mm,
I was like, God damn it. So this is gonna
yeah.
go all the way till like October or some shit.
um, but yeah, great episode. Very excited to see where it's going. Obviously, when the next episode airs, we will be talking about it. Any other thoughts on episode 5?
Yeah, that wait, like you said, that wait is a bummer, but I do whenever we get back to it, sort of looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing how Elsa changes after these events. Like clearly it seems like she may get a little bit colder. That she's a little more vicious, but just we've got we've come to the to a point where there's been we're heading into winter. We've had a lot of shifts in character, and they've lost a lot of people, and so it's like I feel like we are in for a big episode for the next episode, and maybe that I don't know why we have this delay between it, but you know we should be heading into winter. Hell, if a river was a challenge, I'm just looking forward to seeing how much of a challenge it is, just for this group of people to survive winter without killing each other.
The only thing I wanted to say was that it's interesting to me that I'm interested each week to watch the next episode because the way that they structure their episodes, to me, there's the two different ways to structure it now. Just because with all the streaming services, you either make it to where it's one extended movie, or you make it like procedural almost, to where each episode is its own little contained story. And this has done a great job of doing that, but still carrying like the overarching story behind it too.
It does
Definitely.
it both. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's the difference, because I'm watching the Book of Boba Fett, and each episode feels very procedural, but there's no overarching, and then it makes it almost feel like it doesn't matter, which kind of bums me out a little bit. Uh, there's a lot of shows that we review that by the end of it, I'll go back and watch the entire series, and I'm like, that was great. But when they do it episodic like that, I was like, it's not as good, because it just feels like they're breaking at the wrong time, or they're ending it at the wrong note, or it doesn't make me feel intrigued to watch it the following week. And I think that this does a great job of doing both.
Yeah, it does.
It definitely does, and it does it so well, and it's just such a good show that it's one of those shows. We were talking about the other day. Those shows that the minute it drops, the minute you have a moment to watch it, you start watching it. And not only that, but the app it's on. At least, like I think you have an easier time with it, Spencer, because you're on mobile. But I don't, because I'm not using the mobile app for it. It
Yep.
crashes. It doesn't fast forward very quickly, like you're going at a normal pace. It will crash, and I'll play it back through the entire episode and finish it. And it does it every episode, and I still watch. That's how good it
It
is.
is by far the worst streaming app. Not in terms of content. They have great content at Paramount, but in terms of operation, in terms of the mechanics of the app, it's shit.
It's so bad.
I don't know. The
You watch it
NBC,
on your
all of them are really bad.
which
The
one?
Peacock and the NBC.
Peacock is shaky. Yeah, I'll agree. It's on the bad tier, but to me, Paramount's worse.
Paramount tops it. Paramount definitely tops it.
Well, and like I said, I watch it on my phone while I'm, getting ready in the morning for work, or while I'm sitting there drinking coffee. I'll just sit there and watch it on my phone. And because you guys complain about the app, the streaming app itself, I've just stayed watching it on my phone. Like I haven't where else, because I'm like, fuck it, it works here. It's great.
I'll tell you real quick. we're talking about the streaming, but what the hell? I don't know if you guys have noticed. So when HBO Max launched, its app was rough. It had a lot of issues. It's gotten better. Like I don't have
Way better now.
it's way better because I used to I was rewatching Babylon 5, and I mean every other episode it would start messing up, or it would cut out on me and I kept having issues. I haven't had a single issue with it in the last month or two that I've been using it, and I've noticed a actual difference in the app. So hopefully Paramount can get their shit together, because your app it's dog shit right now.
I don't
It
know.
is
They
garbage.
launched about the same time.
They got good content. It's just goddamn. But yeah, that's it, I guess. Look out for, we got a lot of other content come February. A lot of cool stuff coming up. Raised by Wolves, Snowfall. We will be covering those, so look out for that. Of course, Big Sky coming back. We'll be doing that. And of course, we are doing Righteous Gemstones. So appreciate everyone listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.